Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Forefathers, the Dad's Blueprint. My name is Akeem Bennett. This is,
Derek Bell.
and today we are happy to say that, oh my goodness, we're going into the year. I think this is episode six. I think it's episode six,
Seven.
seven. The time is flying by, man. The time is flying by. Derek, I'm having a blast. How you liking it so far?
I'm enjoying myself, man. This is something we jumped out there and we're making it happen.
Exactly. Exactly. Trying to bring as much information as we can to all the fathers out there that are just trying to take things to the next level. You're doing your best as a father to raise your kids, be there for your kids, whether you got one or how
Four.
many? Four? Four? You sure it's only
I
four?
have four, and then
Lord
there's
mercy.
a few of their siblings I've helped raise. So I've probably raised about seven kids.
All right, Nick Cannon. I see you out here. I see. Long as you look, he take care of them, y'all. So I ain't got nothing to say. He take care of them. Today, what we're going to be talking about is participation in education. What you as dad can do to ensure that your child is prepared for the world in many different facets, not just in their schoolwork, but also in just culture, the real world, or just things that you just need to know. Just need to know. Derek, what schooling have you had? What kind of education background do you have?
I grew up in public school systems in South Florida, primarily multicultural, but mostly black. And I grew up in Title I areas. My high school was like 97% black. So I had
And
a
for
real,
for some of our listeners, what is Title One?
those are the areas where they're economically challenged, and they get resources and extra benefits, from the state.
Okay, okay. So you've seen a lot of us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And because of how I was raised, my parents, my mom mostly was she was very open minded.
Okay.
So my mother was the PTA president of my elementary school. So I was always around people of other races,
Mhm.
even though we lived in a predominantly black area. And
Hmm.
so I was exposed. So I always made sure that to me, education is not one color. So I always made sure my children, when I could, were in areas where they were culturally diverse. And I was blessed to have all of my children go to schools where they were culturally diverse, not like my school.
Got you.
So,
Got you.
but my school, I'm not hating Diller High.
I know. No,
Lauderdale, baby.
it sound like y'all had y'all a good time.
Hey,
I bet the
we.
band was fire, wasn't
Oh, you already know. Come on, the band, football,
it?
basketball.
Oh, homecoming was legit. I
Oh yeah.
already
Oh
know.
my God.
Yeah. So and then after that, any post-secondary school, any college, trade schools, anything like that?
Well, when I joined the military, I went into the Navy. Funny story. I went to go see School Days in Miami at the movie
Mhm.
theater. I'm like, I'm going to Morehouse.
He said, I can continue high
So
school.
when I was
This is it.
when I was in the Navy, I applied to Morehouse, FAMU, Hampton, all the other schools, and
Hey, shout out to FAMU, baby.
I ended up coming to FAMU for some other reasons. But I knew for me it was gonna be black school. I just
Mhm.
knew that because after being in the military, and I just knew I needed that other experience
Yeah.
because the military, I was a minority again. You know, so I wanted that experience. I had gotten culturally aware being stationed in D.C. also, which is Chocolate City.
Mm.
So being stationed in D.C. for 2 years, I'm at Howard Homecoming. I'm in Georgetown. I'm really getting. I'm 21, getting a big window of what really is out beyond South Florida. So
Mm.
I knew I was going to a black college, and I chose FAMU.
That is the more that we do this podcast, the more I learn about you and how different we very, very much are. Uh, so I went to what they call a PWI, that is predominantly white institution
Right.
for high school, middle
Mhm.
school, and elementary school. It was all public school, but there it was probably about 60% white and 40% other. Now, with that being said, I was usually in the gifted classes,
Right.
not because I'm super smart, but because I knew how to figure out the answers.
Right.
I could get good grades because I knew how to get through the work. I used to tell them, I'm the reason why y'all don't average 100 points on the test. That's me. What you want a curve? I'm here. I got your back. And so when it was time to go to school, I didn't know what a HBCU even was.
Right.
It wasn't talked about. It just wasn't. We were always told you're going to college. When they ask you about college, they talk about, I'm from South Carolina. They talk about you're going to go to the University of South Carolina or to Clemson. I applied to Clemson. They said don't worry about it, player. We good. I did apply to South Carolina and did conditionally get in. And then we got a pamphlet in the mail that FAMU was going to be in town, and there was a
Mm.
chance for you to get a full ride scholarship.
Wow.
So I was like, cool. I had never heard of FAMU. I didn't know nothing about it. I went to a white
Wow.
school. They sent you to other white schools. Like we around here, we applying to Duke,
Right.
Virginia Tech. Like we that's the kind of thing that we were brought up knowing. And so, skipping ahead a little bit, I applied to FAMU, got accepted to FAMU. And as I started going there, it was a culture shock for me. For you, it was returning back home.
Right.
But for me, I had never seen so many Black people in my life. I just didn't. Seeing so many people that look like you, having professors that look like you, I felt like I knew nothing.
Right.
It was a totally mind blowing experience. And I appreciated it so much because it helped me become culturally aware in a way that I did not know I needed to be. My mother, code switch queen, when you talk to her on the phone, you have no idea that you talk to a Black woman. She was a loan officer, so she worked in sales and then she worked with people.
Had them skills.
Yo, listen. So when you telling somebody, yeah, I'm gonna need you to fork up 40 grand next month, with at this closing, they don't want no Black woman telling them that. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I knew how to play that part, and then my
Right.
dad was military. You already talked about that experience. So there was a part I knew how to play, but I had to learn. I had to educate myself on how to be myself because I had realized I had learned how to put up this wall, and it's not who I was, it's who I thought I needed to be. I don't do that no more. And my child, oh, he know he black. We blackity black. He support any and everything. He tell you quick, oh, I'm wearing my Rattlers today. You sure are, son.
Right.
You sure are. And it's just educating him on what he needs to do. So we talked a little bit about what our backgrounds are. So now all you guys know what our education background is, what we're coming from, where we came up. Uh, Schoolwork. Let's go to the key educational playground that we got, K through 12. There, there were many a time when I went to ask my parents for help on my homework, and they didn't know what they was looking at. It was Chinese on that piece of paper. Uh, I went and asked my mom because she's the, educated one. She was like, son, after about seventh grade, she couldn't help me no more. She's like,
Right. Right.
I don't know how to do this. My dad, he was just very simple. He was a C student, so you could bring home nothing less than a C. You had to
Okay.
do at least a C, be average. What was it like for you in your home when it came to trying to get your homework done, or what was the educational requirements? Uh, get your parents to help you, get your mom or your peoples to help you out with your homework. Like, what was the vibe on education?
Well, it's funny. So growing up, my sister and I, we went to private. Before my father passed away, we were very financially stable. So
Mhm.
we went to like private kindergartens,
Oh, y'all
private
was
summer camps.
bougie.
My
Ooh,
mom was a housewife. Then my dad passed. All A's was your mom, the PTA president. You making all A's
yeah.
because she knows all the teachers there at my house.
Hmm.
So we had great grades when my pop passed away, and then my mother had to go to work. And honestly, I think from like sixth grade until I left high school, my mother never asked for a report card,
Too busy to look at it.
and just it just wasn't a priority. She was working and she had a lot
Mm.
going on, and I began to make bad grades, and I was smart. My sister and I were both smart. I just academics. That's why even now, like my daughter's a high school senior. I ask her, how you, let me see that report. I always ask my kids because I know what happens when you don't ask them.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt subconsciously like it didn't matter. So I didn't give a good, great effort, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my mother, bless her, God bless her dad, you know, from sixth grade until I left high school, never asked for my report card. And I mean, I get suspended sometimes, and I got suspended from school a couple times. You know, I made bad grades. I never flunked the grade, but I mean, I had grades that were not, you
Up to
know,
par.
up to par for my level.
You
I
for a
always
kid that
had
was making straight A's and now you failing. That's
my
not.
test grades are great. Reading two grades levels. You know, I just didn't
You
have
was just
anybody
lazy.
checking in on me.
Wasn't doing the work.
Yeah, just lazy. But you know, I'm 11, I'm
Mm-hmm.
12. You know, like I'm 13. You know what I mean? So you have to. Those habits were not permanently instilled in me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so once I checked out and just got into sports and stuff and just being like average student, you know, I mean, I myself in the military, I kind of got my academic. Well, in high school, I'm not gonna lie, I did better in high school because I played sports
Mm. You had to get
and
them
you had to
grades
have
up to
grades,
stay on the
right,
team.
right. But my mother still never asked her, but like never was asking for a report card. I was just at that point, I had enough self-awareness to want to make the honor roll, you
Mm-hmm.
know, want to have a 3.0. So I did better in high school because I was just a little more self-driven. I had matured because I had been working a part-time job and I had to work in the ninth and 10th grade. So I had been working and I got more responsibility and I got a little more maturity because I had to work, you know. So um, academically, you know, it just was not a priority. So that's why college was so much more important. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it right this time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna do it better this time. I'm gonna be more intentional because I know what's expected of me. So, like I said, even to this day, I always ask my kids, "Let me see that report card. How you doing?" I email the teachers. I mean, I learned from what I did. Like I said, I gave them what I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure I was connected. No matter if they made all A's, my oldest daughter, graduated 5.1. You know, I had letters from Harvard, whatnot, everything. You know what I'm saying? But I still gave her court card, gave her some, you know, allowance. You know, like I still made sure she knew it was important to me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and my son's the same way. You know, my daughter, I always made sure that I was. Let me see that report card. Oh, you're not going out today. I made sure that they knew because I knew in my mind that sometimes kids just want you to know you care.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're still developing. They still don't have the habits to be consistent. So I knew that showing them I cared and following through on it, they would perform. And like my daughters, man, my oldest daughter, like she like when she knew you cared, like she was gonna show you, she was
She
gonna
gonna put
show up. And
that
my
foot
daughter
forward.
was, you know, her grades were always amazing, you know. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would always challenge my sons, like, your sister did, you know, and they did well too, because I let them know the bar was so high, you know, and that like sometimes you got to give people a standard, you know,
Exactly.
and when you don't give a child a standard, they're gonna be mediocre, you know.
You don't
Every
set expectations. They have no goal to work
yeah,
towards.
every now and then a kid will be amazing. But I mean, for the average kid, it's like in a certain challenged relationship or family structure without goals and standards, they're gonna be mediocre.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I feel it. So as a kid, when you did need assistance of some sort, would you just give up and not do it, or did you have some options and you just chose not to pursue them, like tutoring or something at school?
I I I, I was smart enough to do it, but I just did the bare minimum to get the grade done.
Got you.
I mean, I was like Mr. 2.0. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like I said, but I'm highest test grades. I'm taking 10th grade math and ninth grade, you know, but you know what I'm saying? But I just because there was nobody really, I had no real, I want to say I wasn't detached, but I didn't know the importance of always giving my best in school.
You were going through the motions.
Yeah, I was making sure I was going to work after school. I had so many things in the fire. That's why I let my kids work when they was in high. I'm like, nope, you know, I learned from my mistakes. But like I said, you know, I had my priorities wrong.
Yeah.
But it's your parents' job to make sure your priorities are right. I should have been working that grade. You know what I'm saying? But that's how life played
Yeah,
out.
man. Should have been there to talk to my daddy, boy. Because if boy, I had me a job in high school. It was going down. As I started my first job when I turned 16. My
Right,
16th birthday, I started working. And my
right.
daddy said, "Oh, you got car insurance? How you gonna pay for it?" I said, "Okay, cool." So what's funny is my experience was again. very much so the opposite of yours.
Right.
And it could also be because you were in Florida and I was in South Carolina. Because there was no your parents didn't see your report card.
Right.
They had to
Right.
sign it. Like you literally every report card had to be brought home. Your parents would sign it and then bring it back. And I will never forget in the 6th grade, I had my first F on my report card. First F ever. And it wasn't that I wasn't trying. I
Right.
just I just didn't get it. It was language arts. If y'all remember, there's this thing called stems. And stems were like parts and pieces of words so you can understand like what
Right.
they mean. Like if you see an ION, that means there's some type of action being taken or something. I look, man, it didn't make no sense. I've
Right.
always been a numbers person.
Right.
So I had straight A's and I had it was a 68. Now in Florida, 68 is a D. It is an F in South Carolina. Anything
Right.
below a 70 is failing. And you know, I said, I'm not taking this to my Paul. My mama, she already knows she's gonna be upset, but she just gonna yell at you and you move on.
Right.
But my daddy, he done told me, he done set the bar down. C's, nothing less than a C. You bring home an F, man. Let me tell you, in all my brilliance, I tried to forge his signature. But here's the part, Derek, where we talk about understanding your situation. Every single sign, every line that they had to sign
Right.
was on the same back of this report card. So of course, I made it through the first challenge,
Right.
getting the teacher to buy it. But lo and behold, I ain't think about the fact that I got to bring this back to him the next 9 weeks.
Right. Same card.
And he gonna look at that and be like, that ain't me. So I say all that to say, education was really, really big for us. Our
Right.
parents were really big on making sure we understood the school stuff, even if they couldn't help us.
Right.
And I never had the part where I needed to like go and get like extra help because my parents couldn't figure it out. If my parents couldn't figure it out, then I just figure it out the next day in school. But because of that, we, we were always on some type of AB honor roll or something. Like our parents stayed on us about that. But the one thing that they did make sure I knew about was culturally what was going on. Even though I didn't know about HBCUs, even though I didn't know uh, what FAMU was, I understood that as a person of color, I had to move different. And they
Right.
taught me different ways to survive that way. Um, Little things that I still do to this day. When I get gas, I always get a receipt. Even though the receipt's on my phone,
Right.
I done paid for the gas. Nowadays, you don't even have to talk to an attendant. I always get a receipt so no one can say I stole it. When I walk in the store, I take my hood off because I don't want it to look like I'm trying to hide my features.
Right.
Or when I'm walking through a store, I'm walking down an aisle. Try to keep my hands out my pockets so they don't think I'm trying to steal something. All these little things that you learn to do so that as a person of color, you're not a target.
Right.
Those are the kind of things that my dad taught me, basically how to survive.
Right.
Um, I know a lot of that he picked up from his family and his brothers, but I know also a lot of that he picked up from being in the military and being a police officer.
Right.
So how did you kind of help instill that in your kids? Because
Well, I could tell you like for me, and this
mhm,
is my mother had great insight. She kept me involved in like sports. So I'm always like I'm in the all black Cub Scout pack,
mhm,
so I'm rehearsing the Negro national anthem in 7th grade. You know what I mean? So I had some amazing people in my life as far as like my coaches and my Cub Scout pack leaders. So they kept us culturally aware about Black history. We do a Black History Month program.
mhm.
We'd have like skits where we had to actually go and do a Black History Month performance of a character from the past. So
Which character had you playing?
like Carter G. Woodson, just different people. We
Like it.
went to an all black church, Mount Olive. My Cub Scout pack and football team, we worshiped together at the church. So a lot of history in South Florida. I got from just being, my mother did keep me active.
Mm,
She was very good at that. So, I mean, a lot of things I got culturally, even though I grew up in like in certain area, I was in a group of people where we were constantly being exposed, So so that let me know my kids, when I had children, keep them exposed, keep them involved. So I kept my children involved in organizations, in sports, diversity, where they were going to be exposed to not only just our culture but the culture of the community.
mm,
Like I remember when they were younger, if there was a festival downtown, it was Black Festival, we're there. Filipino Festival, we're there. Like
mm,
every festival downtown, I wanted my kids to be there so they could not want to have a global view as a Black man. Because I mean, America, we're so much more than just where we're from, or where we currently are. But that was my way of getting culture to my children by keeping them exposed and giving them programming.
mm.
I mean, I knew that was the best way to be without having unlimited resources. You know,
So I know one argument that we typically see, especially in those income challenged homes,
right?
is how I'm supposed to help if I don't know what to do. We have a bunch of fathers that they might have had their kid young, and maybe because of that, they might have had to drop out of college or drop out of high school.
That's right.
They might only have their GED. So I don't have the ability to help you with your homework, or I had to go and get a job in order to help take care of you. So there's certain, or, I didn't have a father, or my mom wasn't present, whatever the case, in order for me to learn these things. What's the advice for that dad that's trying to see how can I teach you something that was not taught to me?
Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of programs in our communities to help fathers, just parents in general with
Mm.
children. There's Healthy Starts. There's the Coalition for like Head Start. You can,
Shout out to Team Dad. I actually participated in
right,
that program.
right.
Uh,
Most of the
it
most of
was
the Title I schools, they have homework assistants. The fraternities and sororities, they volunteer on the weekends. The libraries, they tutor. So there's a lot. The HBCUs. Most of the college campuses have tutoring also,
mm,
because there's community volunteer hours. But there's a lot of assistance provided by the state. But there's also some that's volunteer. But if you want any school where you want to get tutored, just reach out to the administration.
okay, okay,
There's like I said, there's assistance provided, but there's also plenty of volunteers as well. Like
okay.
for instance, we mentor
Yeah,
on
this is
schools,
true.
So there's
This is
and there's
true.
other people who mentor like us, other organizations. So there's no reason for a child to not get help.
Mm. You just have to. You're basically your job as the father
Right.
is, if I can't provide it, find out who can.
Be resourceful. Right.
Find out who can.
Right.
And if you're not sure, email us. Email us.
You
Uh,
know, I talked to some fathers last week. I did a presentation with some fathers last week. And we talked about a lot of times as fathers, we have so much pride and so much, expectation on us that we can't show weakness and vulnerability,
mhm.
like going and getting help
Or
for my kid.
it's so hard to say, I don't know.
I need some help,
Yeah.
So as fathers, is really being able to be resourceful is a strength. It's not a weakness.
Mm,
Like nobody can make it by themselves, and you have a village, but you have to be able to have the understanding that these things are not you're not alone. Like every father suffers like this. Every situation is similar. We have more in common than we do a difference. So
yes,
I look at it
absolutely.
like just being resourceful. If you're a father and you know your child is struggling, that's kind of your job to reach out and get him some help.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
he's on your
Ain't
watch.
listen, ain't no kinda.
Yes, it's your
It's
job.
it's your job. We as fathers, we provide financially,
Right.
emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. And part of that is not just your mental health, but you want to make sure that your child is prepared for the world, whatever that might look like.
Right.
Whatever that might look
You
like.
can go to any school and reach out to administration. They can set you up with a caseworker that'll get you so many services that the state pays for, whether it's all kind of things helping with um, from finances to education to utilities. I mean,
So
every
on that note, I have a mentee
right,
that's here at a local school, and it blew my mind that there was a guidance counselor and a social worker at the school.
right,
We didn't, first of all, we didn't have a social worker. You had one guidance counselor for the entirety of the school, and you only could really see them during one period because they
right,
taught during two other periods, and they was coaching at least one sport, at least one sport. So to your point, Derek, I don't know that a lot of our audience even knows
they don't.
that there literally is a social worker. Now, don't get me wrong. This is no knock to the guidance counselors.
Sure.
It's no knock to the guidance counselors. I think guidance counselors are awesome. A lot of them are social workers. But the difference is schools that have social workers are specifically using those individuals to tap into those
That's right.
resources that you need and can use. If your child needs help with their schoolwork and you can't do it, go up to the school, pop up in there and say, "Hey, this is my kid. What services can you do? What can you do to
Sure.
help me help them get their grade up?" Because the mentee that I have right now, Derek,
Right,
his grades suffering.
right,
And when I look at them, it's very similar. I've talked to him. I've watched him, worked with him in some of his work. He's an intelligent young boy. Now, I mean, could he be going to Harvard? I don't know. I
right,
don't know. He ain't showed me the effort yet.
right,
But
right.
that's exactly what it is. He's had no one checking his effort. This man literally had a zero on an assignment that he did not turn in, y'all. Assignment had 10 questions. Derek, my dog had answered 8 of the questions. 8 of the you can't move forward until the question is right.
Right.
He had 8 of the 10 questions correct and
Wow.
just didn't finish the assignment. Assignment's 2 weeks late. Why didn't you finish? No one's checking. No one's asking. So there are resources that we have as parents when it comes to your child's education. Use them. Show
Right.
up at the school. And let me tell you something. When they see you as the dad, especially showing up at the school,
That's right.
oh, they're gonna get it right. They're gonna get it right the first time because they know daddy gonna come up there
Yeah.
and talk to them. But there's so many resources that I really like. I apologize for interrupting you,
No,
Derek, but
no,
it's
no.
like that struck me that as a young dad, I had no clue that that was in the school. I had no clue that that was an option. So for our listeners, some of you might not know that.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to do, is this too much? I don't know what to do. Hey, lift one, go there, see us, holla at us.
That's
Everything's in
right.
the show notes. We will help you find whatever it is that you need. Um, Real quick before we start to wrap this up, hey y'all, it's Black History Month. So Derek, he went to FAMU. I went there. I did not
Damn
graduate,
you.
but I was there on the highest of 7 hills. So shout out to FAMU. Definitely going to be at the Harambe Festival. It's being held on FAMU's campus this year. That's going to be exciting. It's going to be wild. It's going to be lit. On that note, y'all know what Derek said earlier when there was some type of festival or something in town. He take his kids, go grab them youngers and go out there,
It's free. It's no excuse.
walk
Trust
around,
me, I was
have
going
fun.
everything free. We was there.
Oh, my wife
It
said
could be
if it's free,
China
me.
China Festival, Greek
Mhm,
Festival. We were there.
mhm.
Getting them boys exposed.
Take you $20. All you need is $20.
Every
You buy you some
parade,
food.
every parade, every. I just feel like this is a great city. This multicultural,
It is.
and you're not always going to be here. So you want to make sure that your children are exposed. So when they do travel, they can understand other cultures, how people live.
Yes, and that's again, that's making them culturally aware, is educating them on how to survive in the world.
Right.
Uh, if me and Derek didn't get that culture, Derek ain't gonna just see black people everywhere he go. I ain't gonna see just white people everywhere I go. The world is made up of literally 8 billion people,
That's right.
most of which don't look like you. They
Right.
look something different. So get exposed, go out there, learn yourself something, as them old people say, and teach your kids something while you're at it, man. Teach your kids something. And I don't care what race you are, doesn't matter. I don't care what your culture is. If you are African American, have your kids learn about the history of African Americans. Not only just, the slavery thing, take it back even further. Look back at the African part of it. Let
Right.
them learn about that. If you're a Chinese American, let your kids know about their culture. Filipino American, um, American Indian, I don't, Native American, what, look,
Mhm.
listen, whatever your culture is,
Right.
all right,
Un-
let
un-
your kids find out about it.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where history is not always honest.
Mm-mm.
So, as a parent, it's your job to instill and teach your child their true history. So a lot of education for history will come outside of the classroom,
You're right.
especially when it comes to your culture.
You're right. I remember reading in a book a couple of years back that the Trail of Tears was a willing walk of the Indians in America, Native Americans, leaving their home. They did so willingly. If they did so willingly, it would not be the Trail of
Right.
Tears.
Right.
Okay, it'd be the Trail of Hoorah, like something like that. But those are the little things, and that's also again why you pay attention. Know what your children are being taught, what they're being educated, and if you don't know, well, guess what? Hey, baby, come on, bring that over here. Let's find out together.
Right.
It's just that simple. Derek, as we wrap up, you got any shout outs for the people or anything that you want to let folks know what's going on?
Again, Lift One, we're doing some great things. We're going to be doing a lot more events in the summer and the coming fall. So just tap in, get locked in, find out what resources we have. We can help you become a better father and help you have a better family.
Yes, and I just want to give a shout out again to the highs of Seven Hills, that fam, you baby, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. But also, just again, a friendly reminder: go in the show notes, click on those links, email us, let us know if there's something that you need help with. There are too many resources right here in town, including us, for you not to get whatever it is that you need. If you don't know how to find a tutor, ask us. If you're not sure what kind of things that you want to get involved with or get your kids involved with, ask us. Derek mentioned it earlier. Healthy Start here in town has a Team Dad program where it literally is a program that takes you through as a new dad, doesn't matter what age, as a new dad to learn some of the essential skills that you need to deal not only with your child, but with their parent, with their mom, because let's be honest, no one teaches anyone how to be a
Right.
parent, and they don't teach you how to be a parent with somebody else that might
That's
have a
right.
different way of thinking. That being said, folks, this has been another episode of Forefathers, the Dad's Blueprint: Participation in Education. Signing off till next time. We'll holler.
Forefathers, the Dad Blueprint is brought to you by Lift One Inc. Follow, subscribe, and share Forefathers, the Dad Blueprint on YouTube at Lift One Forefathers or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Questions or comments? Email the podcast at liftoneforfathers@gmail.com. For more information on Lift One events, visit lift11.com. That's lift, the number one, one.com.